Hopefully this is not too much light. I'm about to work on the vanity, the older vanity that I did with the Junk Monkey milk paint. That was my first attempt at milk paint. And I want to put a little sheen on it and do the drawer liners. And I have a stuck drawer. Let me show you this. I don't have any of my lights down here. So there's my front yard. I'm actually sitting in my living room with the front door open. Hopefully that's going to give us enough light. Move back a little. I just nearly broke this stool. Let me see if we can get to where we can see the piece, not the piece more and me less. Let's see. There we go. Okay, this drawer, I hope you can't see that part. This drawer doesn't go in and out good, and with old pieces that happens. So I had this piece of what do you call it, a piece of beeswax about like this that Sharon Griggs' sister sent me from Austin, and I had it in my car ready for this project, and now I've lost it. It's not there anymore. So here's what I'm going to try. Have this shaving bar of soap, and I have this coconut lip balm. So what we're needing to do is lubricate this drawer. So that's the first thing I'm going to work on. So we're going to try it with this shaving soap. This is what sort of the old timers used to do, is take what were candles made out of? Petroleum based product, like a paraffin wax candle or something like that, to give it a good something to glide with. And I don't have a paraffin wax candle. I have this bar soap. So we're going to try this and hope that helps it to glide. If you look inside there aren't, these drawers were not, that's paper from the thing. These drawers were not made with a glide per se. They just have a higher edge here that slides just on another piece of wood in there. So I'm just going to lube it up with this and hope that that does the job. And if it doesn't, I'll look a little harder for the beeswax. All right, please, 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 please let this work. It didn't work. It's still sticking a little bit. I mean, it's that last little bit. That last little bit is not wanting to do. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to use the coconut oil lip balm by Nutiva. Coconut oil is a very, very slick surface, and it melts at like 78 degrees. So maybe this will, the friction of me sliding back and forth will melt it a little bit and deposit some of the coconut oil on the bottom rungs too. If not, I'll work on that another time and let y'all know what I did. I really, really want to take a nap right now. It's one of those days. It's a beautiful day outside. That's part of why I'm sitting here instead of with the lights on and all that. But and I really want to enjoy this beautiful day. But I really want to bring this piece to work tomorrow so that I can bring that buffet in here to work on. That's going to be my April class project, and it's going to take me a little longer than the regular class project. So I need to get it in here pretty quick so I have plenty of time to work on it. Okay. It gets to right, let me see if I can turn this around a little bit. It gets to about right there and it gets stuck. Of course, I can force it in, but I don't want the new owner to have to do that. I may have to sand down some of the paint on the side. I don't want to get that coconut oil on the top. So it gets to right there. So I'm guessing that I just need to continuously do this until those bottom rails are good and lubed on there. But what we're going to do this morning is I've about decided to, it needs something still. If you can recall, we put this decorative sort of embellishment with the Dixie Belle mud on here and a stencil. We've got one on the top to hide some of the broken veneer and one on each drawer. Here's something else I considered. See how it has this like ridged extra piece right here? I was thinking about like stamping on there with a white or a gold or a teal, some of the colors that would match this, just some wording, and just can't decide exactly what to do. But I think if we put a little more detail to these raised pieces, that'll be enough. So I still haven't got to use this yet. The champagne colored sealer, like metallic sealer by Junk Monkey. So I have no idea what it looks like on, how like translucent it is, how solid, you know, I have no idea what it's going to be like. So I figured I might just do that over these areas, and if it's sort of a light sheen, I may just hit here and there around the edges with it. And the other thing that I'm wanting to do this morning is I've been putting it off because I don't have any what do you call it, like a utility knife at home, and this is the paper I want to line the drawers with. And I thought about doing it with the method that we did before on my desk at work, where we put the Mod Podge in the drawer or on top of the desk and let it dry and then ironed the piece on. But I just don't believe I'm going to be able to get the iron in all the crevices of the drawers. Now I could just leave the drawer alone at this point. There's so many options that can be done, but I really think it's going to be the finishing touch of this piece. I would like to have it on the sides of the drawers, and I think that would really give it a little something. But because these drawers are such a tight fit, I can't do that. It would end up crinkling the paper later anyway. So what I brought out here, my work surface is small this morning. What I brought out here was a pencil, and I just figured I would lay this paper upside down. Please let it be wide enough. Is it going to be wide enough to where I don't have to cut it? I think it might be. What a blessing that is. So I'm just going to measure. Then I'm going to put the Mod Podge in here. Then I'm going to stick this in, and I'm going to let it dry. And then I'm going to come back and use a utility knife with a real sharp razor blade and cut inside the indentations. And that's the only way, with the limited tools that I have right now, that I can see that it can be done. Because I don't want my lack of tools to become a lack of progress. Sometimes it's too easy, and all I did was take a pencil and run it along the back of the drawer, which I know because of the thickness of the drawer, because I did it from front to back, it's going to be probably close to 1 inch too wide and probably close to 1 inch too long. But that's where I'm going to come back in later and trim that out with a razor blade so it'll be good and sharp. So not a big deal at all. It would have been, you know, nicer to have it already cut to fit where I would just have to lay it in there. But if I put it off until tomorrow because of that, then it would be the next day, the next day, and the next day. So I also brought this putty knife that I'm going to push down into the crevices with to get good corners in there. So I'm going to go ahead and just do this first one, and then we're going to use that, try that Junk Monkey glaze. Just pouring this. This is the Dixie Belle chip brush. It's a little bit better than the average chip brush. A little bit thicker and longer. And a lot of times at this point you would put the Mod Podge on, you know, both pieces of the paper and the surface. I'm not doing that. I'm just putting it in the surface. I'm not wanting it to be like decoupaged down to where it looks solid. I want the softness and the uniqueness of the paper. It has a little bit of a sort of a champagne gold pattern in it. I want all that to kind of still show through. I'm making sure to get it real good up in these corners and that I don't have any real thick areas. And let's get it in. Dagnabbit. And let's pull it back up. See what I did? I didn't get it quite far enough in that corner, so the piece of paper is actually in there a little bit crooked. Let's see if it's too late to pull it up. This is good paper, so it's not too late. I'm remembering that I have about 1 inch to share between the two sides. Perfect. Now I'm just going to use this to make sure and get it real good up in those edges, and that'll be very, very easy later on to cut with the utility knife. Hey, Kay. Hey, Kay, as soon as I get done with this, Diane and I are going to Leesville to eat Mexican. You want to go? Kay lives local. And she's my BFF since I was a young girl. This will dry pretty quick because I put a pretty thin layer in there. That's going to look pretty, isn't it? And it has a little bit of the teal that we used, some of the peach, and then some of the champagne that we're about to use. I'm going to put that in there, let that dry, and we'll go ahead and open this champagne shiny stuff. Just going to open it with this thing. Oh, okay, Kay. Well, we'll be thinking about you. I'm going to try to reintroduce cheese today and see how that goes. That'll be my first cheese to try since January 3rd. And I do love cheese. And so just be thinking of me, and please hope that I'm able to successfully eat cheese, because that would make my life much happy. Much happy. I'm going to close up this. I wish I had a stir stick in here. I don't. I'm going to use the end. Oh, I just got that in my hair. The end of my paint handle. Because look down in this. See, it looks silver. But I know that it has gold in there too. I can feel it in the bottom. I should have shook it up better. Let me stir, stir, stir. Because I want to make sure that... Here it comes. Can you see that? Starting to bring some of the gold in there to get that champagne color. Here it comes. Oh yeah, I'm excited to use this. I mean, this piece looks old still, and then when it has all that junk monkey brown glaze and stuff in it, it looks you know, it has that rustic, antique, sort of dirty looking finish to it, but it still needs something. So I'm hoping that this little bit of sheen is what the doctor ordered. It's almost like a marble swirl in there of that silver and gold now. And I'm going to have to get up close to it. Well, I got some glasses around my neck. I was going to say I don't have any glasses. It's bringing, the more I stir, the more of the sort of the champagne gold that comes up. And I want plenty of that in there. It's really, really pretty. Okay. Wish me luck. I'm going to try. I don't know whether, I think I better stick my finger in it. I'm going to have to move the comments so I won't be able to see them. Turn this around just a little. See where it's raised? I've got a paintbrush here, but I think I might be better off just to hit it with my finger. just enough to sort of bring it out just a little bit, the details just a little bit more, and that'll take a little bit more of the attention away from like the broken pieces of veneer and all that kind of stuff. It's like finger painting and finger coloring. I'm not having to work hard to stay within the lines or anything like that, because it's really not important, because once this dries, I do believe it's just going to leave a little bit of the sheen behind. Alright, I don't have the patience to use my finger. Just hitting the high areas. I'm going to hit this piece of hardware too. I wish I could magically have this dry in front of me so I could know what it's going to do. Okay, I'm going to hit this hardware with it as well. And I'm just trying to think. I think I'll get the edges of this. Just enough to give it a little something something. What do you think? Should I do, now I can't see the comments, let me see if I can put it back. Should I do around this little ledge area right here just a little bit? What do y'all think? I don't want it to have too much sheen, but I really believe it needs something. And I could just hit this edge here, or I could do just the legs. What do you think? Should I do just the legs? Can you see the legs? They're pretty decorative here. That would be take a lot more time, but that's okay too if that's what would look best. Or I can just sort of glaze along this outer edge of this. You think the fluted verticals too, Roberta? Okay, well, let's do it. Let's do it. Get it stirred up real good. I'm going to do just the floats and not go all the way down. I've been so anxious to try this champagne color, because I have things that I use silver on and things that I use gold on, but when you have like the champagne color, it can go into the home of a person who has silver or who has gold. I think it's just going to pick up just a slight glisten is what it appears like, which is what I want. Because I've done everything else in a matte top coat. Because I thought with the milk paint that the matte might be best. Shoot, the only brush I brought in here has Mod Podge on it right now, except for this tiny brush. Wait, I brought a rag. Let's see what I can do. Get this off the handle. and make it work. How about that? If I get paint on this floor, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm putting, hey Christine, I'm putting on just a little bit of the Junk Monkey Big Shiny Dreams for Your Furniture Champagne Color Top Coat. It's brand new. Junk Monkey just came out with it, and this is my first time to use it. And I'm wanting to add, it adds just a little bit of a champagne. And I'm wanting, I feel like the piece is a little bit too dull, and I'm wanting to add just a tad of shimmer here and there. And somebody suggested the legs and the flutes on this side thing, and I was doing the little decorative areas that we put in before. So where the sort of the rest of the piece will be matte, because I put a matte top coat on it, when this dries it'll have a little bit of sheen on these areas. And it's paint, so if we don't like it afterward, we just paint over it again, right? Sometimes you think you got all the way around these things and you didn't really do it. So I'm double checking. Okay, I think I should probably, since I did that bottom, this little rail here, I should probably do that one too. I did that with that small brush. Which fits it perfectly. I'm trying to move fast because of being sitting here with the door open. The wind is blowing, and I know this is going to dry fast, but I'm not wanting to go so fast that I go over the edge any, because this sheen, even if the color doesn't show, this sheen will show up against the rest of the matte finish. Okay. What do y'all think? Should I do this little piece right here that's under the drawers too? Anybody? I'm dipping my brush and I'm heading that direction. Make sure the paper's drying good. We also put this drawer liner in the beginning, and I'm going to line the rest of those drawers. And I'm going to see if I can move you around this way, because I don't have room to move the piece. I'm going to have to move the camera. Let me see if I can do this. Hope that's not making anybody dizzy. Turning it down. Okay, see this here? That's the decorative piece that we put on there last time, and that's where I'm wanting some of this sheen to go, just to bring that back out. So here it still is, and it's, see how when you stir it, it brings the little gold particles up and gives it that champagne look. And I'm just gonna lightly hit it on the raised areas. Just enough so the magic happens when the light hits it. And on this area, it does not have to be perfect, because remember, this is supposed to look old and aged and time worn and ragged, and like it was very special in its day, and now we're reloving it. And remember, we put this here. Here's where that veneer was up and just looking so terrible and peeled off and everything. And we used a stencil and Dixie Belle mud to put this raised design on here to hide that ugly. And now, where there once was ugly is now the highlight of the piece. Isn't that cool how a little bit of paint and a little bit of time changes the perspective of everything? Now we're going to let that dry. I'm going to move you again. Hopefully nobody gets dizzy. There's a picture that my grandkids painted for me. How about that? Oh. Okay, what are we looking at? Here we go. Let's see if I can back it up. This is the other drawer. And I'm going to do the same thing to it as I did to the other side. This drawer works good, so I didn't have to wax the rails on it. But I will have to pull it out in a minute and line that drawer with that pretty paper. I got that at Tuesday morning. I don't know if y'all have a Tuesday morning where you live, but it's like a sort of like an out of stock from other places store. What do you call it? Like an overstock store type of a thing. But they have all kinds of nice decor items and a lot of like paper crafting and scrapbooking and napkins and party planning stuff and stuff like that. And you can get some really cute stuff to decoupage with and stuff like that. Put a little more on this other handle because I ended up with more on that one. And we got to do the flutes and the legs. I don't have the stencil down here. It wasn't Antoinette. It was Damask something. It was, I did if you look back in my old videos and look for Junk Monkey milk paint, that was the first time I used it, so I'm pretty sure that's what I named the video. You'll see where I used the stencil in there. I have it, I'm downstairs painting and my stencils are upstairs because I did a class for somebody's group yesterday and on a mixed media journal cover, and I got out all my stencils for that. So there, I unpacked them from down here and brought them up there because I recorded that upstairs. If I could tote this upstairs, would be up there right now doing this too. That's where my studio's at, my comfort zone. Okay. Switching back to the bigger brush to get the legs. And I can see as that's drying on the other ones, other legs, it is giving it that sheen that we want. It's picking up just a hint of a champagne color. So this is an awesome product to have added to my arsenal here. And if any of y'all are interested in it, I have a Junk Monkey link, and I'll put it in the comments in a minute. It's kind of cool when you're working with something that's semi, translucent or whatever, because you are transparent, whichever you would call it, I guess translucent, because you don't have to worry about every bit being perfect. If I was coming on here with another color or something that was going to be opaque and show everything, I would have to be worrying a lot more about how I'm getting this on. But I think that's it. I think we got all of like the outer edges. Let me see if I can pick this up. I can see it shining already. Here's what not to do. Look, I put my thing down on the lid. Let's see if I can turn this around. Can you? Well, you can maybe see it right. Where's this at? See this? How it's shining? This is all matte. So this is already dry. I mean, I'm touching, it's already dry, and it just picked up enough of a sheen to differentiate it from the top part. And if you were able to see this part, I don't think you're going to be able to see the difference, but I'm looking at it from a bit of a different angle. Maybe you can see it there. See how it almost has that little bit of a champagne color to it? It's not a solid color that's showing through, but it's enough of it that it gave it that little punch of something that it needed there on that edge. Let's see if I can pick this back up. I've not sat around where I had to move my camera so much, so I apologize, y'all, or my phone actually. So what I'm going to do now is decoupage the rest of the insides of these drawers. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm cutting the paper a little bit big because I don't have my utility knife here at home with me, so I'm just cutting it about an inch too big, Mod Podging it down, and then once it dries, I'm just going to go back with a new razor blade on my utility knife and cut that straight down through there. May have my husband do that. He's much more patient than me. I'm going to stick the knife down in there real hard and jab it and end up cutting something crooked and then be mad at myself. And I think I had planned on leaving this kind of rustic looking, but now I don't like it. So I may at least sand a little bit here if I don't sand the whole thing off. And then we will have final pictures because I will sit on this. I will bring this thing to work tomorrow is the plan. Thank you, Roberta. That's what I'm hoping is, you know, I still want it to look old and still want it to look time worn and all that, but I want it to be special for whoever it's going to. I know that it's there's somebody out there who's gonna have had one of these when she was a little girl, or whose grandmother had one and she loved to sit at it and play when she was young. Somebody who's gonna appreciate the chipped veneer that's in there and appreciate the time-worn look that the brown glaze gave it, and the slight amount of chippiness that came from using the milk paint. There's somebody who, and I believe that with all my heart, this is called Wild Salmon, and it's also Junk Monkey, and it's their milk paint, and it was my very first time using milk paint, and I will use milk paint again. I was scared of it, but it wasn't bad at all, and it just comes in a powder, and you mix it up with water yourself with a little tiny whisk. But I do thoroughly believe that, you know, fate chooses the colors for me and the things to do and the things that we do to it. Somebody's going to learn from something from this today and be inspired to go start their project. I believe every bit of that happens for a reason, and that's why I love doing what I do so much. So I appreciate y'all being here. Awesome. You're welcome, Roberta. I'm going to put a link in there in just a minute, and that helps me, like, buy a cup of coffee, I guess. When people use my links, it doesn't pay much, but it does actually gives me free paint. You know, not a lot of free paint, but if 10 people were to buy something, I would probably get a free can. But, you know, that sort of helps me justify how much time I spend doing this kind of stuff. But I do it because it's not for money, but because that's what's in my heart. And like I said, I believe this is for somebody. There's somebody who's going to see it and they're going to go, oh, I remember when, and it's going to be special to them. And sometimes I believe you just got to go with your gut on those things. But I'm really, really wanting to start on the two vanities I'm working on, but for our April $10 class project. And I've never done, you know, I think of, not a vanity, but a buffet. I think of buffets as being like, you know, stately and just you know, they need to be neutral, and they're going to sit in the corner with all their beauty. I have my grandmother's old one in there, and I could walk y'all in there and see it, and see if I can pick this up and do so. And to me, that's what vanities should look like. That's what, you know, or they're old and you leave them that way and you don't mess with the wood and all that kind of stuff. Here's my grandmother's. See how I did it in neutrals? Is it even showing? Yeah, I did it in neutral colors, and I did that a few years ago. And I keep dog food and cat food in this drawer, but I did the inside of it green, and the outside of it in tans and browns. And there's the piece that I did yesterday on the quick video. But anyway, I'm going to do this one in bright colors. I'm going to do it in Junk Monkey Crazy Eyes, which is like a bright orange. And they have a fuchsia color that's called Berry Dance. And I'm going to do it in those two colors and maybe put some teal on it. So it's going to be a wild and crazy fun piece to do. I'm ready to have some fun and do something like that. So thank you, Roberta. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.